Welcome to The Deep Dive. We sift through the noise to bring you what matters. Today, we're focusing on the electric vehicle revolution. It's completely reshaping the car industry, right? Our goal here is to pull together the key developments, the challenges, and maybe peek into the future, all based on the research we've gathered. We've got quite a range of material covering history, tech shifts, different company strategies. It's a lot.
It really is. And it's worth just pausing to think about the scale of this. We're talking about the biggest change since cars replaced horses. For over 100 years, the internal combustion engine was just dominant.
Totally dominant. But it wasn't always the guaranteed winner, was it?
No, not at all. Back in the early 1900s, electric cars were right there, neck and neck with gasoline and even steam. It was really Henry Ford's Model T that gave gasoline the edge. Mass production, the whole infrastructure built around it.
And now we're seeing that cycle again, but for EVs, a whole new ecosystem.
Exactly. And what's pushing it now? Well, several big things.
Governments, for one. You see regulations popping up everywhere. California, China, the EU talking about a 2035 ban on new gas cars.
Right. Those targets are serious drivers.
Yeah.
And then there's the elephant in the room. Climate change. The push for green energy is massive.
So how are the car companies actually handling this? The strategies seem pretty different.
Oh, fascinatingly so. You look at Tesla, they jumped out early, got this cost advantage. Ford's Jim Farley even talked about their, engineering secret sauce.
Yeah, I remember that. And Ford brought in Doug Field, right, from Apple, but he'd worked on the Tesla Model 3.
Precisely. They put him on analyzing their own Mach-E. Shows how intense that competition is, trying to catch up or figure out Tesla's edge.
Then you have GM. Mary Barra seems all in, but their big statement piece was the Hummer EV.
Which is, let's be honest, a low-volume vehicle. But it was a statement, like you said, a signal of intent. Very different from their older EV projects like the Sunracer way back when.
It's a strategic pivot.
Definitely. And you get personalities involved, too. Think Bob Lutz at GM. Initially, he wasn't convinced about man-made warming, but he pushed for the Chevy Volt.
Why was that?
Seems like a mix of things. Partly competitiveness. He saw the Toyota Prius succeeding and wanted to beat it. And partly just, engineering curiosity.
Yeah.
It shows the motivations aren't always purely environmental.
That's interesting. And then there's China. Their situation is really something else.
Completely different dynamic. The government push there is huge, mainly because of, terrible air pollution in the big cities.
Right. Getting license plates for gasoline cars in places like Beijing is super difficult, I hear.
Exactly. So that automatically makes EVs way more attractive for consumers. It's created this massive domestic market boost.
Which helped companies like BYD take off. Remember when Elon Musk kind of laughed them off?
Yeah, that clip aged interestingly. BYD started focused on batteries, then moved aggressively into making cars. Now they're a global competitor.
And not the only one. NIO is another name that comes up.
Yeah, NIO targets the premium end in China. They're trying innovative things, too, like battery swapping stations. It just shows how fast that market is moving.
Okay, so lots of momentum, different strategies. But it's not all smooth sailing, is it? There are big roadblocks.
Oh, absolutely. Big ones. The most obvious, maybe, is public charging. Especially in the U.S., the infrastructure just isn't there yet. Not enough chargers, and reliability is often an issue.
Yeah, range anxiety is one thing, but charger anxiety, that's real too.
It is. And then there's the whole supply chain for batteries, finding enough lithium, nickel, cobalt, graphite, these critical minerals. That's a huge concern.
And can the grid even handle it if everyone plugs in their EV, plus all the other demands like AI data centers?
That's the other big question mark. Strain on the electric grid. These are serious challenges needing massive investment in charging, in mining or recycling minerals, in grid upgrade.
It also changes what car companies need to be good at, right?
Totally. Building complex internal combustion engines was an art form, a competitive advantage for many traditional automakers. Electric drivetrains are, mechanically speaking, much simpler.
So the focus shifts.
It shifts heavily towards batteries, the chemistry, the manufacturing, and software. That's where the complexity and value are moving. Companies that mastered engines might lose that edge if they can't master batteries and code.
We are seeing efforts to build out that charging ecosystem, though.
Definitely. Tesla built its supercharger network, which was a smart move. You've got companies like Francis Energy trying to put chargers in underserved places like rural Oklahoma. Others like SWTCH are tackling charging in apartment buildings, which is a tricky problem.
Even the way cars are sold is up in the air. The dealership model.
Right. EVs generally need less maintenance, which cuts into dealer service revenue. Plus, some manufacturers, following Tesla's lead, want to sell direct to consumer or use an agency model where dealers are fulfillment centers, not negotiators. That's shaking things up.
And back to batteries, the fight to secure supplies is intense.
It really is.
Yeah.
Automakers are looking at locking in long-term contracts, even investing directly in mining operations. Policies like the Inflation Reduction Act in the U.S. are trying to encourage domestic battery production too. And everyone's chasing the next big thing, like solid-state batteries.
Although it's interesting, lately you hear more about hybrids again.
Yeah, that's a noticeable trend. Sales of hybrids have picked up. It suggests maybe the all-out rush to full EVs might be, well, taking a bit longer than some forecasts predicted.
So maybe consumers aren't quite ready to jump all the way, or the infrastructure gaps are making them pause.
Could be a bit of both. It indicates a potential recalibration. Maybe hybrids stick around as a bridge technology for longer than we thought just a year or two ago.
So wrapping this up, this deep dive really shows the EV shift is incredibly complex. It's not just one thing. It's policy, it's climate pressure, it's new tech, it's changing consumer tastes, all hitting at once.
Absolutely. It's a fundamental systemic change for a massive global industry. The ripple effects go way beyond just the cars themselves.
Which leaves us with a big question to chew on. With all this upheaval, all these challenges and innovations, what does the car world actually look like in, say, 10 years? Who comes out on top in this electric era? Something to think about. Thanks for joining us for the deep dive.